Okay, so we're back doing Morrowind. Hopefully our OBS software is streaming correctly. Everything seems green on the board, so we'll just kind of trust that it's working well. And we will continue on with our Telvanni Mage quest, doing the chores, being the good mages that we are. Okay, let's check our journal first. Let's do quests today. Missions. 3 questions or coded message. Let's do coded message first. Tell fair. Oldest and most respected wizards in House Telvanni. He shows an unfortunate lack of interest in politics. Swim or fly southwest. It's a long trip. Okay. I guess we're going swim or fly. Going to visit the Southwest. I'm from the Southwest. Actually, the most southwest city in America, in San Diego. So, Southwest is one of my favorite directions. Also, a pretty decent airline. Well, at least a cheap airline. Airlines are something you can always complain about, of course. But, so, right now our entire loadout is based around getting the stat endurance up, which means that I'm having medium armor and a spear, so that if I do get hit, I don't level up the unarmored skill, which will give me speed, which is a stat that I like, and I'm thinking about upgrading this level up. But it also will advance our progress towards the next level up, which I want to reserve for magic. I want to use my magic skills and willpower to get the highest willpower upgrade that I can in this level up. Hey, what's up, Ghost? Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to upload a video a day for YouTube. And I think they're all up so far. At least 8. And they're pretty long, too, so I feel like if anyone ever wants to hear a bunch of my voice, they can watch, over, what's it, like 16 hours worth of content, at least. Like 2 6-hour videos, and then a bunch of like 3-hour videos of me just like relearning this game. I might make this my wizard house, my like player house up here, and just go up and drop a bunch of stuff. Actually, I'm gonna do that. We're gonna do that because I love carrying capacity so much as a gamer, just independently. And also, there's not a lot of slaughterfish in these waters, which is nice. It'll also provide us a good space to level up our athletics, because swimming levels up athletics much faster than running. Which is something that we want, because we want our level up to have lots of speed in this one, but we don't want to use any of our minor skills or major skills. So we want athletics, which is not a minor or a major skill, but it levels up very slowly also. So yeah, that's like, in my opinion, one of the big flaws of the Elder Scrolls series level up idea, is that they thanks. I don't know if I'm the best Twitch streamer on Twitch for what it is, but I try to do my best and be authentic, which is what my experience of what like millennial culture, what the good part about streaming is that it's a real person. They're not like, doing a bunch of over exaggerated acting and stuff. And granted, there are Twitch streamers that do that, and there's a lot of pressure to do that. But I don't know, I used to be an actor for most of my young life in San Diego, so I kind of I have some acting classes under my belt, and the thing that I philosophically like about the art form is connection. And whenever you're not authentic, you hurt that sense of connection. So the best actors, in my experience, are people that can find that connection, even in different, like, even in a fantasy genre, right? Or like, I don't know, I think humans want communication. I think that's... We don't technically need the hospitality papers. They do weigh 0.01. But the armor is definitely going over here. This is light armor that we can use to... Oh shoot. That we can use to level up our agility whenever we need to. And also, light armor, I think, is the armor that I want eventually to be our character's armor specialty. The skirt, Saryoni's skirt, I do want to save, but we don't need to keep it with us all the time. The expensive ring, I want an expensive ring. I like rings. I like putting rings on it. And the shirts and expensive shirts, don't really need them. I don't know, I was gonna wear them just to get my weight correct. Like the weight that I actually will be having in the game when all of this is enchanted. That's very pretty, actually. But the truth is, it's not really doing anything for us right now. And it weighs 3. I do like the extravagant robe, though. Actually, yeah, I might keep the extravagant robe just in case we ever want to take our armor off. Then we won't be naked. But yeah. Going to this wizard place is a very interesting and different level up experience than the Mages Guild, because it's very like analog. It's very like catch as catch can, where the quests are really simple and you don't get a bunch of loot or a bunch of, you know, organized rewards, but you do get, wow, that's really pretty. You do get access and exposure to a bunch of expensive stuff, and they just expect you to kind of be selfish and take it, which I guess is the Telvanni way. In many ways, it's really like, I don't know, it's really like get good noob idea of leveling up your Mages Guild. They don't like take care of you. They're just like, go to this place. You need levitate in order to get to the quest. And they just assume that you know levitate. They're like, of course you know levitate, right? And if you don't, then that's kind of your fault. It's very snooty. It's very nose up in the air. I don't know. I think it's really funny. It's a great classic expression of the classic mages. I want to go kill that mud crab and level up my spear. Yeah, this player house, being the lighthouse up here, takes a long time to get up and down from. But, you know, that makes it less convenient. But it's also just cool, you know? Like, the experience, I think, is better than the efficiency. You know? Like, and until we get a house of our own by doing a bunch of Telvanni quests, I think that this one will be good practice for us, because this whole place is just about wizard towers. That's like the main feature. And I am still afraid of slaughterfish, but by this point our spear skill has finally gotten to the point where we can reliably hit anyone at all, ever. Always on the lookout for that. And also the music changes whenever you're in combat. So, yeah, we do know levitate. We got levitate right here. I kind of want to like buy all of the spells in the construction set, by which I mean all of the like NPC normal spells that are in the game, before I really get aggressive with like making a bunch of custom spells myself. Even though making custom spells is absolutely a part of the game, and it's one of the most important parts of the game, I think it was actually taken out in Skyrim because of the exploits and the bugs. But how it functions in Morrowind is basically like the game is already extremely harsh and it's not leveled to your level at all, which means that you can get in really bad places really quick. So they put in the Spellmaker as kind of like a saving grace so that you can engineer. It gives the player base the power to engineer things that can save it. And the player base is resourceful, right? Humans are pretty good at thinking themselves out of different scenarios. We're going to kill this crab. And so by that freedom of giving the players this really powerful tool and letting them enchant it, it kind of gives the power back to the people. Speed combined with the spear is also really great for putting distance between yourself and the enemy. Is that a wizard tower down there? He said he marked it on our map. Oh, this one. Okay, so it's even more south than what I'm looking at. Yeah, I just love how Morrowind does its exploration, where if you need help, you have to pay a ferry service. It's very realistic. And if you don't need help, like, not having fast travel, I think, is a really cool part of the game. It's one of the reasons that I liked Dark Souls. Dark Souls 1 is that if you wanted to go somewhere, you had to walk there. You know, you had to explore the map in ways that are, I don't know, it just felt really realistic to me that travel and time were part of the considerations. Granted, there's lots of different opinions on this. This is all good harvesting for this area. So muck sponge, you need a muck shovel to harvest muck. That's part of Morrowind Rebirth. You didn't always need a muck shovel to harvest muck. I don't know how I feel about that, partly because I don't have a muck shovel and I haven't seen a muck shovel. It turns it into a very rare resource, whereas before you could just like harvest this for forever. But I don't know. I kind of like it in that way. I like it, and then at the same time I don't, not for convenience reasons, but just because of like player balance reasons, where I don't know if the devs didn't want to put in that you need a muck shovel to harvest muck. And then, you know, if that was their intention, and then the modders just, you know, helped them by finishing their job, or if having an extra carry capacity weight to be able to harvest things is its own balance statement. But granted, the amount of stuff we get from other sources is pretty good anyway. And also, we haven't had a level up where we let ourselves do alchemy. We did steal that alchemy set from the Mages Guild, which, if we're going House Telvanni, is actually within character for us because Telvanni hates the Mages Guild. They're constantly in magical competition with the Mages Guild, so right now we're kind of playing both sides, to be honest. I'm not sure how we're gonna deal with that, like, in our character, and also just in general. Because I want to explore both quest lines, partly because, like, I forgot a lot of the Mages Guild quest. Ooh, there we go. Leveling up the spear. I also remember when I was a kid, for some reason I didn't dispose of many of the bodies. I don't know if because I was playing on Xbox original, like the first Xbox, that I couldn't get rid of the bodies, or if it was that I just like thought that bodies staying was a cool graphics feature. And it is more expensive on the hardware, so you know, I think ideally in a game, if you had the capacity for it and it wouldn't crash the game, you know, bodies stay. But I do like that there is a dispose of bodies button that puts the player in charge of how many bodies they want in their world. Because, you know, just like in real life, you can choose what to do with the bodies. It's pretty dark. Alright, but yeah, I also just remember this distinct feeling of getting an Xbox 360 and playing Oblivion for like ever, for so many parts of my college experience. I was so happy and excited to play Oblivion. But I don't think I ever beat the main quest. And I'm not sure if I ever really beat the main quest of Morrowind. So that's absolutely a goal for us. I don't know how far that I got in any of the other ones. I think I got the furthest in the Blades. And I'm pretty sure I got, like, decently far with the Fighters Guild. I didn't play the Thieves Guild almost at all, to the point where I thought that the Thieves Guild didn't exist in Morrowind. But that was because I did the Fighters Guild quest so early. Anyway. And right now what we're doing is just getting money. Money is essential for buying the spells that we need. Money is essential for getting the training that we need and the level ups that we need. And we're just going to sell all of these ingredients to make sure that we have the cash that we need. And the other thing I discovered is that Magicka potions, making your own Magicka potions in Morrowind is extremely difficult. All of the expansions added ingredients that restore Magicka, but in the base game, in original Morrowind, it's so hard to level up or to restore your Magicka. None of the Tribunal temples do it unless you're Atronach and you can spell drink the effects. Okay, so there is a boat here. It's so interesting that this is like a city. I mean, I guess it is. We'll see how big it is inside. But Telvanni cities are just so alien and different than the other cities, and that's really what I love about Morrowind, is each one of the houses feels like a completely different culture, because that's where the Dunmer came from, is they were a series of families or clans that emigrated from the High Elf homeland of the Somerset Isles to this, quite frankly, barren and inhospitable land that's very hard to live in, and they made it work. In many ways, this is kind of like an analog for American settlers because of the slavery narrative and the fact that it's, you know, a very high civilization elf moving over to a different location and starting the practice of slavery. Or at least doing the practice of slavery. Not that British never did slavery. They did that a lot in the West Indies, and you can always look at that. You can always go to the Bahamas and check. Okay, so I like that you can see many of the wizard towers from the other wizard towers. Granted, I think this is because of our mod that allows our draw distance to be really far, but I think that's a great piece of game design that if the player needs help, they can look at the horizon, and that's, I don't know, that's just a good gaming skill. In lieu of quest markers, which are just a spire at the top of your screen in the HUD, you have literal spires at the horizon in the game. Okay, we did all this. We're not gonna... My addiction to collecting is seen sometimes in my interactions with alchemy. But also, we're still at the bottom of the totem pole. We're still poor. We need to make sure that we get as much resources as possible. Alright, we're inside. We're gonna rest before we talk to anyone. Nice. Are you here to plunder the dungeon? Have you got corpus disease? Did you want to talk to Delvin Fair? That's interesting. You'd be surprised how many people come in here trying to steal Lord Fear's treasures. He does have quite a collection of relics and artifacts, but he keeps them down in the corpse... Wow. Corporsarium? And who wants to risk catching corpus disease? Not to mention, who wants to get ripped in half? Pity, we don't see many good thieves here. I love the relationship that this fantasy world has with thieves. Like, they're very romantic. Like, people kind of want the game of the thief trying to steal their stuff. It's, like, exciting for them. It must be very boring before the internet, or it's not like there's video games in Morrowind. Okay, just the stupid ones. Oh, we don't see many good thieves here, just the stupid ones. Gosh, I should really finish reading before I make commentary. That's sad and funny. Everyone who gets corpus disease comes to our corpusarium. Really? It's not very pleasant, but at least they're all fed and cared for. Interesting. Is this the only corpusarium in the world? Love to study. I hope you can fly. You can get up there unless... You can't get up there unless you can fly. Or have potions. Sorry.
Yes, madame.
Okay. Corpus disease is a big part of this world. I think it comes from Dagathur. It comes from the Red Mountain. And the prominence of disease and plague in this world was always something that I found really interesting, partly because it's a very bold choice. In D&D, and indeed in most fantasy settings and most games, people don't like diseases. They don't like to get diseases. It's, you know, a little bit... It doesn't have a lot of counterplay. It's a permanent debuff. It feels bad. Bronze door to the Corpusarium. I seem to remember this as part of the main quest of the Blades. But again, when I was playing this game when I was 12, I was just wandering around, not really, like, knowing what I was doing, I guess. Or at least not understanding what I was doing as much. Certainly not in the, like, broad overview of politics and, like, cultural appreciation for what this game is trying to portray. I think I was just, like, going to each spot and being like, wow, okay. Like, I have to go do this quest. I have to go do this next thing. It was kind of the actions without the understanding. I don't know. What do you want? Also, I really don't know what has changed between Morrowind Rebirth versus this Morrowind for quest stuff. I'd be very interested to know all of a list of what they changed. The Ashlander Ahamesa tribe has a permanent settlement in the Amarisa camp, a rocky promontory in the northeast tip of Ardenfell mainland in the Azores coast region. Here, let me mark it on your map. I mean, good, thank you. Vardenfell is one of the 6 imperial administrative districts of Varwind. So, right now we're on Vardenfell. Vardenfell is only one of the 6 districts of Morrowind. Morrowind is the Dark Elf location region. It's basically the top northeastern chunk of Tamriel that includes both the mainland parts and this island of Vardenfell. We are on the island part, and that's the only part of the game that we can go to. I am very interested in the other parts of Morrowind that are closer to the Imperial side of things, and it also explains that there's a lot of Dark Elves that are on Morrowind that are much more connected and coordinated with the rest of the world than this part. This part is very isolated. Islands are also mostly isolated just by definition. Vardenfell Island, a great landmass dominated by the giant volcano Red Mountain, and cut off from the mainland Morrowind by the surrounding inner sea. A portion of the Potomac Ocean, lying north of Vardenfell, is known as the Sea of Ghosts, lying between Tamriel and the northern continent of Atmora. I don't know what Atmora is. I think that's where the Slodes come from, but the Nords are also up there on their boats. A very Viking exploration of the northern oceans. Continent of Akavir lies across the Potomac Ocean to the east. Yeah. So they know about other continents that are different from Tamriel. There's Akavir. Akavir is another word for high elves. I wonder if he means the Somerset Isle of Akavir. It's across the Sea of Ghosts to the north. Sorry, whenever I'm being really slow like that, I'm just synthesizing that information with the other information that I have in my life. So I guess down here would be where this might be Solstheim, maybe? Yeah, I guess I have to really confront how much I haven't explored this map that much at all. Of course, Red Mountain is very dangerous, so going anywhere towards the middle is very hard to do. So I guess kind of taking a tour around the edges, maybe by boat, can help fill out our map. And that would be a good use of our money. Okay, so lots of skulls. Servant skulls, not just any skulls. Saryoni's sermons, we did hear about that last time as something for... This is all temple stuff. I have this book. This book explains all the buffs for the temple. Is the lives of the saints. Okay, so necromancy and religion, very temple focused. Let's save first. We don't want to lose our progress from a misclick of stealing a book in front of everyone. Saryoni's sermons. Blessed Almsivi, mercy, mastery, mystery. This volume of the Hierographia, i.e. priestly writings, was written hieroglyph, or hierotitan. Hiero means order of hierarchy. Hiero is a hierophant is a tarot card. I didn't know it was associated with priests, but I guess that makes sense. Alright. It was written and collected with commentary by the archcanon Tholier Saryoni. It is the best-selling of the temple annotated texts. Some money and economy mixing in with your religion there. And therefore inexpensive and commonly found in most Dunmer households. That's interesting. It's the way he phrases it is it's best-selling, so it's inexpensive, right? That because I made money off of this, I could make it cheaper. which is a very religious like way of thinking about the economy. It's where the product is the most important thing rather than the money. If Saryoni is actually a good person, then this is really cool. If he's a bad person and he's, you know, making sure that everyone knows that he's better than he is, then this could be manipulative. But it's, you know, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. He works for the temple. He's a high up in the temple. We shouldn't be mean to him before we know him. All right. Saryoni collects Vivek's most famous sermons and the popular explanations of his Gospels. This text exists in many editions. More elaborate editions are handsomely illuminated with Vivek's quotations from the Gospels for days, seasons, and festivals. Interesting. So there's different types of Bibles that you can buy, which is true also in Christianity, at least in America. You know, printing Bibles is one of the, quite frankly, oldest and most reliable publishing jobs that you can have, is printing and making Bibles. It's a book that's always in demand. People want the gospel, right? Okay. Listen faithful to Vivek's words, for he says 5 times and 5 ways. Forge a keen faith in the crucible of suffering. Okay, so the connection between suffering and faith is very important. For the last 3 years, I've been doing some Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist learnings and Buddhist teachings, and they have as one of their first tenets, I think, this idea of, I forget the exact quote, but the translation is often oh god, I want to look it up. Sorry, this is important enough that I should look up. I think it's part of the heart mantra, something like that. Buddhism isn't my native cultural religion, so I don't know very much about it. I was actually schooled in Christianity for like, oh god, at least 8 years officially. So Lutheran Christianity specifically. So I know a bunch about that. I know a lot more about Christianity than I do any other religion. Okay, that's what it is. The basics of Buddhism. A lot of what it is translated as commonly is suffering exists. It has a cause and it has an end. Therefore, it has a cause to bring about its end. In Buddhism, desire and ignorance lie at the root of suffering. So the first tenet is like often translated in English as suffering exists. But the actual way that Tibetan, at least in Mahayana Buddhism, Tibetan, obviously, Sardutsa, or Buddha, is Indian first, is simply the word suffering. It's just suffering. And they kind of nod at you. And they're like, right? Suffering. Not suffering exists, but if you are suffering, then that will mean a lot more to you than it does to other people, right? So the people that hurt the most often look for solutions hardest because they need them, because the world isn't working for them in the way that it's currently organized. And that's a big mood for myself and lots of young people, like millennials, but I should also say like Generation Z. Generation Z has a big relationship with suffering in ways that I think is more honest than other times where humans have had to stuff it down or drink martinis after work every day or drink in the middle of their work week. Referring, of course, to the 1960s mad... I don't know. This gets into a complicated commentary on generationalism and different generation solutions to the same problems, but we should move on and focus on on just the religious text in front of us. So transforming suffering into something positive is essentially much of the religious advice that has been for humans for thousands of years. And just because information is religious doesn't mean it's not important for human development and survival. Even if you're not a faithful person, you don't believe in God, you can still acknowledge that lots of humans have been suffering for a very, very long time, and this is one of the organizations that humans have made for themselves and for each other that at least try to address that. I like to call it the first pass at psychology was spiritualism. And, you know, there's a long period of time where we didn't have psychology at all. And, you know, psychology is extremely recent coming onto the field. So for every time period before that, people still needed help. And the church was there when no one else was. Of course, they also forced and killed other churches, so it's not just like this perfect, beautiful thing, but each culture found some way to deal with the soft skills of the problems of having brains as complex as we do. Okie doke. Wow. I got 2 sentences into the actual text. Okay, engrave upon thy eye the image of injustice. Death does not diminish. The ghosts gilds with glory. Guilds being used here, I think, for like the golden guild way. The ghost gilds with glory. Faith conquers all. Let us yield to faith. Better to suffer a wrong than to do one. Okay, this sentence is very important to understanding the religious mindset. Is in some ways it's first do no harm to the world and then try to help it in some way. But the first thing that you have to acknowledge when you do that is you have to give up preemptive strikes. You have to give up in some ways protecting yourself in the ways that other people do or more secular people do. And that means that you have to kind of get good at suffering and then healing that suffering. You become a healing specialist from firsthand knowledge, right? One of the chosen armor skill for the Dunmer Temple, or the Tribunal Temple, is unarmored. So, if that gives any indication as to their relationship with suffering, you know, that's that can be particularly illuminating. But the other thing is, you do get better at unarmored when you do it, right? Unarmored is a armor skill that doesn't just give up. It makes you better at working with the things that are set upon you in real ways, so that, you know, your armor gets better than... Rather, I guess what am I trying to say is that if you have experience with something, you get better at it. So, unarmored has pride as, you know, it's not just a nothing skill. It's its own skill that can be just as good as armor. Okay. I think I'm going to give up on commenting on the rest of it until the end. Let's just get through. Hear the words of Lord Vivek and heed his sermons on the 7 graces, for he names them 7 times and 7 ways. Valor, daring, justice, courtesy, pride, generosity, humility. Okay, 7 is a holy number for Christianity. I can't not comment. The grace, valor. Thank you for your valor, Lord Vivek. I shall not quail nor turn away, but face my enemies and my fear. The grace of daring. Thank you for your daring, Lord Vivek. I shall not shun risk, nor hide behind the mask of cautious counsel, for the fortune favors the bold. Okay, I want to talk about this. The mask of cautious counsel and its relationship with risk and boldness is very, very interesting to have in your religious text. All right, the grace of justice. Thank you for your justice, Lord Vivek. I shall be neither cruel nor arbitrary, for fair dealing earns love, trust, and respect of our people. The grace of courtesy. Thank you for your courtesy, Lord Vivek. I shall speak neither hurtful nor harsh words, but shall speak respectfully, even of my enemies, for temperate words may turn aside anger. Interesting treatment of enemies here. I actually really like that. The grace of pride. Thank you for your pride, Lord Vivek. I shall not doubt myself, or my people, or my gods, and shall insist upon them and my ancient rights. Again, a rights-based argument for their gods, their culture, and I think also their practice of ancestral ghost worship. There's a bit of a wound there that's being addressed. The grace of generosity. Thank you for your generosity, Lord Vivek. I shall neither hoard nor steal, nor encumber myself with profitless treasures, but shall share freely among house and hearth. Okay. The grace of humility. Thank you for your humility, Lord Vivek. I shall neither strut nor preen in vanity, but shall know and give thanks for my place in the greater world. Okay. I mean, these are all great lessons. It's sad that the Telvanni are not abiding by them and are in fact preening and accumulating, hoarding treasures and goods all the time. But these are all religious texts. This is Azur's book. This is Blessed Almexria. Yeah. Varieties of Faith. Ancestors of the Dunmer. Okay. Reading the books does kind of mean that our quests are slower, but Lunar Lore can... So, the gamer version of myself suspects that this is a level up book, and I don't want to read it because it'll advance my skills. The streamer version of myself says that if I open a book, I should probably read it, and I just read a book and I want the pace of progress in the game to be a certain way. And then the other part of my mind says, I might never come back here. I might never come back to this location. Also, I'm lost. We have to find a way to go up. Scuba pipe, always important. Gosh, that is very pretty. Little candle there, you put the scoom up top, and you suck it through the thing. The design of many of these things in the world building is really great. 2002 for this. Oh, I see. We have to go up there. Yeah, we're getting a really big spell list, and it's getting a little hard to manage and organize. I don't know what the solution of that will be eventually. I'm a little worried about it. Oh, hi, this person has Daedric armor? Oh, what a pleasure, a visitor. An entertaining diversion. Haha, clever diversions channel. Come to consult the great Diveth Fear. You have the divine disease? Want to plunder the dungeon or leer at my daughters? Okay. That's weird. The divine disease, the magical principles of corpus disease are elusive and miraculous, far more subtle and powerful than any conventional sorcery or enchantment. Okay. I'm persuaded that it is in some manner the curse or blessing of a god. Perhaps both a curse and a blessing. The victim, of course, cannot appreciate the marvelous nature of corpus. It saps the mind and destroys the body. Wow, okay. But to a wizard, it is profound and glorious mystery, a riddle worth a long lifetime of study. Okay, kind of a mad scientist there. When you live for thousands of years, you need a hobby. Something thousands of years. I did not know that Dark Elves can make it to thousands. Maybe the wizards can. Something you love always sparks your interest. I collect treasures and invite thieves to steal them. Haha! I'm a collector and a sportsman. I collect enchanted items and ancient artifacts, have quite a few Dwemer pieces, and as a sportsman, I love letting thieves try to steal my well-guarded treasures. Only a few rules. 1, don't hurt the inmates. 2, don't hurt my daughters. My warden and guards can look out for themselves. My warden and guards can look out for themselves. Not bad for something born in a jar, eh? Charming and talented. Not daughters, really. A little project, a side benefit of my researches into corpus disease. Made them myself, from my own flesh. Okay. Nice, aren't they? Alfear, Bitifear, Deltifear, Upsifear. Quite a comfort to me in my old age, haha. Okay, so he cloned himself, the female versions of himself, to have sex with. Cool. The girl with the biggest heart. She takes care of inmates in the corpsarium and helps with my researches. That's a little weird. Deltifear is the efficient one, organized and orderly. She acts as our steward, manages accounts, and maintains supplies, keeps the tower and corpsarium running. See, this is like the thing about linear fighters and quadratic wizards. And by what that means in D&D is that, like, you know, fighters, they go up in power steadily over time. And that's, you know, what you expect from most gamers when they level up. They're like, you know, I'm going to get a little bit better each time. And that's very satisfying. But with wizards, you start off really, really weak. And you can't do a lot of things because you don't have a lot of magicka, and the magicka is really weird, and you don't know a lot of spells. But once you take off, you really take off. And there is like no limit to the edge of what you can do as a mage if you survive through that first early stage of trying to make it work. Like the top end just gets insane. Like you start making clones of yourself. You start living forever. You start, you know, altering reality and time and like getting to the secrets of gods. Like this is the thing that, you know, mages and like I would even say like intellectualism has as its draw is that like, yeah, you can get a job at Foot Locker, but you know, make like a meager like you know, a modest, like, living, working with your hands and doing stuff like that. But the mysteries of the universe are something that, like, is in the realm of intellectualism. That's where, you know, the atom bomb gets made. It gets made by physicists, not by a bunch of mechanics. You know what I mean? Of course, they ask the mechanics to help them actually physically make it, so it's not that that skill isn't important. It's just, I guess the difference between a mechanic and an engineer is a different level. But again, no shade on any mechanics. Like, quite frankly, the world needs both, and oftentimes the world needs more mechanics than it does engineers. Like, they need one engineer, and then hundreds of thousands of mechanics to actually do the thing that is the project of life. And also, like, I don't know, I've been confronting my own elitism a lot recently, and it's just something that I'm like, because I have to believe so hard that the choices that I've made in my life had to have been worth something, I get really self-conscious about people who made different choices that were more successful for them than my choices have been for me. So the fact that many people who are mechanics make a bunch more money than I do and have done that for, you know, the entirety of their 20s, and I'm still like desperately trying to go to college and like engage in a societal position that's usually reserved for an 18-year-old is kind of it's a little bit of a weak spot for me. But, you know, it's important to acknowledge your biases and acknowledge your weaknesses and work through them rather than pretend that they don't exist. So yeah, it's from a position of vulnerability. Alpha Fear, the sharpest of my girls in wit and tongue, gets on my nerves sometimes, but conflict is the spice of life. No, I'm 32. I'm like super old. I'm yeah, I got my degree when I was 22. So I did 4 years right out of high school at the University of California at Santa Barbara, UCSB, Gauchos represent. But then I worked just in like food service and until I got my medical, I went back to medical school and I was like 26. So for like 4 years, I worked in like at a grocery store that was like a natural whole foods grocery store. And I became like a dairy buyer there. Like I ran the dairy department and I was a culinary supervisor there. But you know, it didn't really use like my intellectualism in the way that I wanted. So then I went back to medical school, and then medical school didn't really use my intellectualism in the way that I wanted. And now I'm trying to go back to college to hopefully be a history professor if I can, if I have the skill set for it, if I'm good enough at writing and speaking and teaching. But that's the skill set that I'm currently working on by going back to college and taking a wonderful class on African American experiences in the Civil War, which I should be writing my paper for this week. Finishing my paper, I should say. I have 12 pages of a 16-page paper done, and I need to get the other 4 pages and then edit. The real work of being an academic is editing and reading, and writing, I guess, but you know, in that order, maybe. But here's the sweet one. Eager to please and be pleased. Oh, wow. Okay. Huh. An excellent cook and lovely singing voice. See, that's nice. That's... Yeah, I used to sing a lot. I did, like, musicals and acting, and one of the good things that growing up in the church does is it makes you sing a lot, which is, I think, a skill that, you know, most people are really good at singing if they just practice it, but there's not very good social positions in life to really genuinely practice singing. Like, even with karaoke is more of a performance rather than practicing, and singing in a chorus with a lot of people is, like, I think that's the original human way to sing. You know, if you go back to, like, ancient Greek plays, they always have a chorus. Like, that's one of the positions that you have in a play, is being able to sing with other people or talk with other people or perform with other people. And it's great to participate in that art form, even if you have stage fright, because you're not alone. And I don't know, I just really miss that about society and life, and like being in college and being in school and being in high school. Like, acting with your friends is just a really great human hobby to have. It's a great cultural artifact to keep creating in every city all throughout time. I think it should never go away. Humans should never forget the community of performance. Okay, and that's kind of why I want to stream in the first place, is like, I don't know, it's fun. It's just a fun thing to do. Okie doke. Well, I hope so. I mean, you know, thank you for the support. Yeah, I guess, like, you know, everyone in life is always trying. They're always trying to make it work. And I think the choice to try is the most important choice. Even if it doesn't work out the first time, you just, you know, kind of keep having it as a goal and keep trying. Because, you know, the days are going to pass anyway. Like, you just kind of have to choose how they pass. Like, you're going to get older naturally, no matter what you do. You just try to do the right things in each year, so that when you do get older, you're proud of it. I mean, that's how I did all my other previous stuff. It's weird to, like, have skill sets that I don't use anymore and just, like, talk about them in my past. Or I'm like, oh, I used to be an actor. I used to be, you know, a soccer player. I used to do all these things. And, you know, in the future, I'll say that about what I'm doing right now. I used to be a streamer. I used to ride motorcycles. I used to, you know, do all the things I'm currently doing. Just, that's the joy of existence. Okay, but we need to move on. We should do our quest. Visathakai, the Argonian, is my warden of the Corpsarium. Okay. Quite a fighter, tough as nails. I really like how Argonians are portrayed in Morrowind in this game. Other games, like, I don't know, I feel like Argonians are this, like, fierce thing in Morrowind, where people are, like, afraid of them because there was an Argonian and Dark Elf war recently in their past. And in the other games, like, not that they're played for a joke all the time, but they're sometimes played for a joke. Alright, quite a fighter, tough as nails, self-taught, works out with my daughters, who are no slouches in the martial arts themselves. Okay, are they all unarmored? Visanakai was one of the last of my slaves. Freed him, and he wouldn't leave. Kept him on as a hireling, then made him my partner. Excellent fellow, fine companion. Not an intellectual, you understand, but good company for me and my fighters. It's a very intellectual thing to say, that whether someone is an intellectual or not is something worth mentioning about them. I don't know. That just strikes me as, like, very genuine to people. Like, this seems like a kind of a cool guy, a weird guy, a very eccentric guy. You know, he cloned himself so he could fuck himself in a female body, so that's one thing. But also, like, he is doing work on a disease that no one else is addressing. Granted, he kind of keeps them around as, like, collection victims, and has them guard his dungeon, his treasure thing. Poor devils, wretched existence, constant pain, ferocious appetites and passions, no reason at all, mad and marsh rats. Mad as marsh rats. I want to use that phrase now for the rest of my life. Mad as marsh rats, but marvelous too in their way. Completely immune to disease, live forever, barring accidents. Interesting, immune to disease. Ancient wizards need projects to keep them occupied, and the Corpsarium is mine. He is very old. Okay, we did that. I did that one. Did that one. Yep. Message from Master Aaron. Yes, I will accept this message. I want to... Came here to tell me that you had the message from Master Aaron, but you cannot give it to me. How Stefani tolerates madness among some of the more advanced members, but not among those as young as you. Ha, that's funny. Okay, sorry. I don't know if I should save this. I'm going to save this in a different one. Because I want to read this. Now that I know this guy... Oh, okay. There is a key to read Daedric, by the way. I don't know if I can do that right now. If I can go and read Daedric. But we can translate this if you wanted to. I bet that it's coded even in its translation, though. So it might not be great for us. But like, there are people in the community that can read Daedric. And I don't know if I want to do that for this playthrough or right now, certainly, but hey, it's up there. It's available. You really want to do that. Okay. Yes, I will accept this message. Please wait here while I read this. In just a minute, I will write a reply. Here, take this back to Mouth Gallios Mathendis. Tell him I must reject his master's thoughtful proposal. Interesting. So we can find out who is talking to who here. Galos Mathendis. So... Alderana, summoned creatures do not have very strong souls. Really? Therefore you need to locate a suitable Daedra, cast Soul Trap on it, and dispatch it. Do this twice while carrying a powerful soul gem. and give the gems to Luthuna Hilran. Is that a quest? Did we just get a quest? Soul of a summoned creature won't work. A summoned creature is not fully bound to this world, and thus its soul is much weaker compared to its natural counterpart. I'm not sure what happened there. This might be part of a different quest. In fact, I think it is. Okay, this is clearly a very interesting spot. Swimmer book here. Phrase of faith. Of life and services. True nature of orcs. Ha. Hot take. Book of Danger. Arcana restored. Talmarag Cares researches. Homilies of the Blessed Almexia. He does like this. Oh, hey. That's a key. I don't know if I want to piss this guy off. He's wearing full Daedric armor. And he's an ancient wizard. So he's clearly spec'd into heavy armor. He's a heavy armor wizard. Legendary Scourge. Posting of the Hut. Star Lover's Log. Spirit of the Daedra. Gosh, all these look so good. I just want to sit here and read the whole books. All of the books. But okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll do like at least 1 or 2 per stream, and so it'll keep it from being boring. Lots of owned stuff here. Have you got Corpus Disease, or are you planning to plunger the dungeon? You're smart. Get Corpus Disease, get killed by Corpus monsters, get killed by Visena Kai. A very good plan. Plunder the dungeon of a 4,000-year-old wizard. What could be easier? Ha! Okay, Alpha Fear is very funny. He's busy. He's always busy.
What is this about?
Okay, so that's his daughter, I suppose. Daughter / partners. Ahem. I never all the way understood why rooms like this were in the Elder Scrolls series. I think they're just available for low-level thieves if you really need some cash. But they seem to just like be very realistic with how much a cup is actually worth and whether it's... Oh, wow. Lock level 100. Okay. I want to see if there's anything behind it. 2 of these candles, sometimes used for to indicate that there is something religious going on, or something like with ancestor worship. They're seen sometimes in necromancy stuff or Daedric stuff. The game uses those red candles to usually indicate something arcane. Do I have slow fall? Does he sell any spells? I mean, I don't think he does. No, yeah. I wonder if I can get him to like me and if he'll say anything different. It might be worth having something just because we're here. Nope. 77 though. Not bad for a charm spell. And yeah. Although we shouldn't level up, gosh, that was a mistake. We shouldn't level up Illusion because it'll count towards our progress for the level, but it won't give us willpower attribute. It'll give us personality attribute. So we have to stop casting illusion spells. Jump? Is that jump different than Fortify Acrobatics? Sorry, this might get tedious in the future if we start getting more and more and more spells, and which I can't see any other way around getting more and more and more spells, and I don't plan on, I don't know, deleting any of them. To be fair, I don't really... Oh, we should use Mark and Recall. It's a mistake for us. Yeah, I guess Alteration is what we have to level up. So... Oh god. Really? Alright, well I guess we're just gonna have to take it. Okay. That was half our health. Oof. Alright. Acrobatics is also something we can level up, although that'll give us strength, so we shouldn't level up acrobatics. Gosh. Kind of, part of me just wants to take the mod where we take the skill cap limit off, just because of, I don't know, just not having to worry about it as much. You know what I mean? Okay, let's at least do the quest that we have. Come on. Yes. Okay. Oof. Still getting worried by rats. Maybe we are at the exact appropriate level to be doing errands like this one, being little messenger boys. Literally. In this, or messenger girls, actually, I should say. I do kind of want a muck sponge, or a muck shovel. Okay. Before we go in the water, should be pretty careful. Shouldn't use all our fatigue, because in this game, the fatigue bar influences your chance to hit. And fatigue is really important, whereas in other games, I think even in Oblivion and Skyrim, fatigue did not affect your hit chance. It just affected your whether you could swing or not. I do need to level up athletics, so we should be swimming. Oh god. Oh, he's still alive. Okay. I'm glad that we are out of magic. But we have health potions, so it's okay. Yeah, I think the real anxiety of this game is whether you have enough magicka potions. At least for us, because we're mages, and we care about leveling up efficiently, at least in the beginning. Later on, I don't think I'll care about leveling up efficiency. I don't know if I want to fight this Cliff Racer. Cliff Racers have high agility. They're hard to hit. Let's see if there's pearls out here. There's our house up top. Okay. Okay. Oh, come on. Is that... Didn't give me the name of it. That made me a little suspicious. Maybe we can kill a Cliff Racer. Their plumes sell for 10. And I do need money. There's also a scrib up there. Kill the scrib for sure. You always kill the scribs. But yeah, Magicka has been a very interesting, like, problem to think about in the game. Oh, he might be diseased. He's attacking us. Yeah, he's diseased. I knew it. Disease scrib. Okay. So here's the other thing, is when I complete any one of these chores for the Telvanni at the starting level, they always offer to teach me a spell, which is great for me because I'm a spellcaster and I'm starting out. By this point I have quite a lot of spells, but you know, I can always use a little more. And before, they asked me if I had like a cure common disease spell, and I said yes, and they didn't teach it to me, but I should have said no and had them teach it to me and then deleted which one was more expensive, or at least saw whether or not one was more expensive or not. I could have also slept in the wilderness. I keep on forgetting that. Keep on treating every level as if it's my final level, and it's not. Okay, I forget which one is the one that we were doing it. I can't. It's hard to tell these apart. Alright, but let's save at least. We're over here. I did want to read a espresso book that I remembered. New clothes. Okay, so that was the clothes girl. This is the muck person. Disappearance of the dwarves. So this is the message from the guy. His quest is the 3 questions, though. We have to do that later. This is the slowed soap person. And this must be the coded message, yes. Yes, here it is. Thank you, Spiri. I'll deliver this message to my patron, Master Aaron. Please take his courier fee of 500 drakes. Nice. Oh, they're drakes, not septums. Maybe there's septums on the front, or they turn into septums later in the world? I could have sworn that it was septums, but they call them drakes here because they have the dragon on the back. Maybe they're septum on the front, dragon on the back. So it could be drakes and septums. Alright. 500 gold. Near Voss. Take a boat to Voss and head south. You cannot find anything suitable. I'm sure you can explore any Daedric ruin nearby. Surely you can do that. Lol. You steal for another Telvanni but live? You clearly deserve what you stole. Great. Sounds healthy. It's interesting that being old erodes, like, their respect for the rule of law. They're like, I'm old enough that I don't have to care anymore. I'm not sure what that is. Worthy of lawman. I cannot advance you to mouth. You must find a patron in House Tovani. Interesting. I can stop being Aaron's mouth here on the council. Perhaps I can get some research of my own done. So you can replace one of these people. That's very interesting. Okay. Gosh. This... Whenever the cord for my headset hits anything, it makes a really bad sound, and it's hitting my zipper for my jacket, so sorry about that. Alright. So these are all very interesting. We need to sleep. And in order to do that, we need to go to the wilderness. There's still not a lot of good places to sleep in the wizard tower. Oh, jeez. Alright, so I'm going to read this book just because it's really fun. It's one of my favorite books. It's, if I can find it, of course. I think it's a horror book about a play. So it'll be interesting.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I thought it was over here somewhere. Yes, okay, so this is the book. A Horror of Castle's Ear. I hope my voice will hold out. Okay. The Horror of Castle's Ear, a one-act play by Balith Cool. Dramatis Personae. So these are the actors. Balith Cool, that's cool. Clavades, captain of the Imperial Guard, Cyrodiilic. Anara, a Dunmer maid. Ulis, a lieutenant of the Imperial Guard, Argonian. And Zalasa, a young Argonian mage. Okay, so the cast is 1, 2, 3, 4 people. We have a Cyrodiilic, a Dunmer, an Argonian, and another Argonian. Late evening. The play opens in the interior great entrance hall of the castle in Scath Anud. Replete with fine furnishings and tapestries, torches provide the only illumination. In the center of the foyer is a great iron door, the main entrance to the castle. The staircase up to the landing above is next to this door. The staircase up to the landing above is next to this door. Okay. On stage left is the door to the library, which is currently closed. On stage right is a huge suit of armor, 20 feet tall, nearly touching the ceiling of the room. Though no one can be seen, there is the sound of a woman singing coming from the library door. A loud thumping knock on the iron front door stops the woman singing. The door to the library opens, and Anara, a common-looking maid, comes out and hurries to open the front door. So Anara is the Dunmer. Dark Elf. Clavides, a handsome man in Imperial garb stands there. He's the Cyrodiilic, he's the Imperial. Anara. Good evening to you, Sergio. Clavides. Good evening. Is your master at home? Anara. No, Sergio. It's only me here. My masters Sendura Kenna, Telvani, Hordoff, Zir, that's funny, very long name, is at his winter estate. Is there something I can do for you? Clavides, possibly. Would you mind if I came in? Inara, not at all, Sergio. Please, may I offer you some flint? Clavides comes into the hall and looks around. Clavides, no thank you. What's your name? Inara, Sergio. Clavides, Inara. I'm not going to say the names anymore. Inara, when did your master leave Skathanud? More than a fortnight ago. That's why it's only me in the castle, Sergio. All the other servants and slaves who tend to his lordship travel with him. Is there anything wrong? Yes, there is. Do you know an Ashlander by the name of Sul Carfia? No, Sergio. I don't know no one by that name. Then you aren't likely to now. He's dead. He was found a few hours ago, dying of frostbite in the Ashlands. He was hysterical, nearly incomprehensible, but among his last words were castle and Zir. Dying of frostbite in summertide in the Ashlands? Vivek, that's strange. So in summer, in the Ashlands, dying of frostbite. I suppose it's possible that my master knew this man, but being an Ashlander and my master being of the House Telvani, well, you'll pardon me for being flippant, Sergio. I don't think they could have been friends. This is your master's library? Would you mind if I looked in? Please, Sergio, go wherever you want. We got nothing to hide. We're loyal Imperial subjects. Of course you are. As I hear, are all Telvani. Note from the playwright. This line should be delivered without sarcasm. Trust the audience to laugh. It never fails, regardless of the politics of the locals. That's really good. I love these little notes in the text. It adds so much to the world. It makes it so alive. As I hear, are all Telvani. This line should be delivered without sarcasm. Trust the audience to laugh. It never fails. Clavides enters the library and looks over the books. The library needs dusting. Yes, Sergio. I was just doing that when you knocked in the door. Okay. So a maid who's been here for, what, 4 months? When did he come out? More than a fortnight ago, so more than a month. Hasn't gotten to the library yet and was just doing it now. I'm grateful for that. If you had finished, I wouldn't notice the space in the dust where a rather large book was recently removed. Your master is a wizard, it seems. No, Sergio. I mean, he studies a lot, but he don't cast no spells, if that's what you mean by wizard. He's a Kenna, went to college and everything. I don't know what Kenna means. You know, now that I think about it, I know what happened to that book. One of the other Kennas from the college been round yesterday and borrowed a couple of books. He's a friend of the master, so I thought it'd be all fine. There's some, like, minstrel overtones in this with how the maid is talking. It's very kind of traditionally a black, like, servant role. It's just very problematic for American literature and plays, specifically minstrel plays. Okay, so this Kenna, was his name Warvram? Could have been, I don't remember. There's suspected necromancer at the college named Kenna Warvram we arrested last night. We don't know what he was doing at the college, but it was something illegal, that's for certain. Was that the Kenna who borrowed the book? A little fellow, a cripple with a withered leg? No, Sergio, it weren't the Kenna from yesterday. He was a big fellow who could walk, so I noticed. So, the two descriptors, little and cripple, are the opposite. Big fellow who could walk, so I noticed. I'm gonna have a look around the rest of the house if you don't mind. Clavides goes upstairs and delivers the following dialogue from the landing at the front and the rooms above. Arna continues straightening up downstairs, moving a high-backed bench in front of the armor to scrub the floor. Okay. Can I ask, Sergio, what you're looking for. Maybe I could help you. Are these all the rooms in the castle? No secret passages? Arna laughing. Oh, Sergio, what would Sendakuna Tavani Hordolf Zier want with secret passages? Looking at the armor. Your master's a big man. Oh, Sergio, don't tease. That's giant's armor, just for decoration. My master slew that giant 10 years ago, and keeps it for a souvenir. That's right. I remember hearing something about that when I first took my post here. It was someone named Zier who killed the giant, but I didn't think the first name was Hordolf. Memory fades, I'm afraid. What was the giant's name? I'm afraid I don't remember, Sergio. I do. It was Torfang. I got out of Torfang's shield. What? I don't understand, Sergio. Torfang's shield? Clavides runs down the stairs and examines the armor. Sir Kifa said something about getting out of Torvang's shield. I thought he was just raving, out of his mind, so that's the victim. But he ain't got no shield, Sergio. Clavides pushes the high-backed bench out of the way, revealing a large mounted shield at the base of the armor. Yes, he does. You covered it up with that bench. I didn't do it on purpose, Sergio. I was just cleaning. I see that armor every day, Sergio, and Beck, I swear I ain't never noticed this shield before. Interesting. It's fine, Arna. I believe you. Clavides pushes on the shield, and it pulls back to reveal a tunnel down. It appears that Sender Kenna Tilvani Hordolf Zier does have a need for a secret passage. Could you get me a torch? Beck, I ain't never seen that before. Arna takes the torch from the wall and hands it to Clavides. Clavides enters the tunnel. Wait here. Arna watches Clavides disappear down the tunnel. She appears agitated and finally runs for the front door. When she opens it, Ulis, an Argonian lieutenant in the Imperial Guard, is standing at the entrance. She screams. Ulis. I'm sorry to frighten you. Arna. Not now. Go away. I'm afraid the captain wouldn't like that, miss. You're with the captain? Blessed Mother. Clavides comes out of the tunnel, white-faced, and it takes him a few moments to speak. Captain, what's down there? Did you know your master is a necromancer? That your cellar is filled with bodies? Arna faints. Ulis carries her to the bench and lays her down. Let me see, Sergio. You'll see soon enough. We're going to need every soldier from the post here to cart away all the corpses. Ulis, I've seen enough battles, but I've never seen anything like this. No two are alike. Khajiit, Slode, Dunmer, Cyrodiil, Breton, Norn, burned alive, poisoned, electrified, melted down, torn apart, turned inside out, ripped to shreds and sewn back up together. What do you think, the Ashlander escaped? Do you think the Ashlander escaped? That's what happened? I don't know. Why would someone do something like this, Ulis? There's a knock at the door. Clavides answers it. A young Argonian woman. Zolasa is standing, holding a package and a letter. Zolasa. Good morning. You're not Lord Zier, are you? No. What do you have there? A letter and a package. I'm supposed to deliver it to him. Will he be back shortly? I don't believe so. Who gave you the package to deliver? My teacher at the college, Kemo Warvim. He has a bad leg, so he asked me to bring these to his lordship. Actually, to tell you the truth, I was supposed to deliver them last night, but I was busy. Greetings, sister. Greetings, sister, because they're both Argonians. Greetings, sister. We'll give the package to his lordship when we see him. All hail, brother. I had heard there was a handsome Argonian in Skaithanoon. Unfortunately, I promised Cameron Warvam that I'd deliver the package directly to his lordship's hands. I'm already late. I can't just... We're Imperial Guard, miss. We will take the package and the letter. Zolasa reluctantly hands Clavides the letter and the package. She turns to go. You're at the college, if we need to see you? Yes. Fair tidings, brother. Good night, sister. Clavides opens the package. Zolasa exits. It is a book with many loose sheets. It appears we found the missing book, delivered to our very hands. Clavides begins to read the book silently to himself. Ulyss, to himself, very pleased. Another Argonian in Skaithanud, and a pretty one, at that. I hope we weren't too rude to her. I'm tired of all these women and their smooth, wet skin. It would be wonderful if we could meet when I'm off duty. While Ulyss talks, he opens the letter and reads it. Ulyss continued. She looks like she's from the south like me. You know, Argonians from the North Black Marsh are much less. Ulyss continues reading, transfixed by the letter. Clavides skips to the back of the book and reads the last sentences. Clavides reading, in black ink. The Khajiit male showed surprisingly little fortitude to a simple lightning spell, but I've had interesting physiological results with a medium-level acid spell cast slowly over several days. In red ink on the margins. Yes, I see. Was the acid spell cast uniformly over the entire body of the subject? In black ink. The Nord female who was subjected to 16 hours of a frost spell, which eventually crystallized her into a state of suspended animation. The Nords have 100% resistance to magic, from which she eventually expired. Not so the Nord male, nor the Ashlander male, who lapsed into their comas much earlier, but then recovered. The Ashlander then tried to escape, but I restrained him. The Nord then had an interesting chemical overreaction to a simple fire spell, and expired. Interesting. If you cast frost and then fire, I wonder if that does extra damage. I think in the other games it does. I'm very curious to see if it works in Morrowind. See the accompanying illustration in red ink. Yes, I see. The pattern of boils and lesions suggests some sort of internal incineration, perhaps caused by the combination of a short burst of flame following a longer session with frost. It's such a shame I can't come by to see the experiment personally, but I compliment you on your excellent notation. In black ink. Thank you for the suggestion about slowly poisoning my maid Arana. The dosages you've suggested have had fascinating results, eroding her memory very subtly. I intend to increase it exponentially and see how long it is before she notices. Speaking of which, it is a pity that I haven't any Argonian subjects, but the slave traders promised me some healthy specimens in the autumn. I should like to test their metabolism in comparison to elves and humans. It's my theory that a medium-level lightning spell cast in continuous wave on an Argonian wouldn't be lethal for several hours at least, similar to my results with the Cyrodiilic female, and, of course, the giant. In red ink, it'd be a shame to wait until autumn to see. Ulyss, reading the letter, in red ink. Here is your Argonian. Please let me know the results. It's signed, Kemo Wavram. By Kennerith, this isn't necromancy, it's destruction. Kemo Wavram and Kenna Tavani Hordolf Zir haven't been experimenting with death, but with the limits of magical torture. The letter isn't addressed to Kenna Tavani Hordolf Zir. It's addressed to Sadura Ichala Zir. His wife, do you think? Clavides. Ichala. That was the Tavani of the Zir family who I heard about in connection with the giant slaying. We'd best get the maid out here. She'll need to go to a healer. Clavides wakes up Arana. She appears disoriented. What's happening? Who are you? Don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. We're going to take you to a healer. Do you need a coat, Ichala? Arana. No, thank you. I'm not cold. Arana Ichala stops, realizing that she's been caught. Oh, she answered to a different name. Clavides and Ulyss unsheath their blades. You have black ink on your fingers, your ladyship. And when you saw me at the door, you thought I was the Argonian that your friend Wavram sent over. That's why you said, not now. Go away. You're much more observant than Arana. She never did understand what was happening, even when I tripled the poison spell, and she expired in what I observed of considerable agony. What were you going to use on me first? Lightning or fire? Lightning. I find fire to be too predictable, or too unpredictable. Interesting. I wonder if that's true for Imperials. As she speaks, the flames in the torches extinguish. Ooh, fire too unpredictable, and then the flames go out. The stage is utterly dark. There is the sound of a struggle, swords clanging. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashes out, and there is silence. From the darkness, Anana Ichala speaks. Anana Ichala. Fascinating. There are several more flashes of lightning as the curtain closes. The end. Ooh, spooky story. 5 spook for me. Yeah. They're good, right? They're simple. They're like easy to predict, but I think that's what makes them good. Oh, that's the door. We need levitate to get up there. Maybe. Okay, we should do our quest. But yeah, having ADD and playing these games is so rewarding. It's so rich to follow these paths. We should sell this stuff. 82 Morrowind. Good God. Gonna make health potions forever. But then we'd have to carry the health potions. Let's just sell them. Talk to our 100%. Our person that loves us the most. Alright. Script jelly, scales, yeah. Jama, we want to keep that. Spell absorb is good. You need spell absorb. Alright, let's do 4. Yes. Very good. Okay, quest. I'm so glad they added that in the Tribunal expansion, I think, or the Blood Moon expansion. They added the ability to have quests. 3 questions for Baldas Damari. The mouth of Malamurum mentions something about asking Baldas Devani 3 questions. Disappearance of the dwarves, Dormer artifacts, and Dormer language. Is acceptable. He may not answer the questions. This is acceptable. I need only ask the questions and return. Aladas Tervmani. Demenervani. I don't know who that is. Where is that person? I might have to ask him where to find the person to complete his quest. Memorizing all of these names is really one of the harder parts of Morrowind. There are so many people, and there are so many names. Minsk is very well populated. Oh, shoot. Responsible for Telvas, in a sense. He's asked me to find someone to deliver a clear light potion. We could do more chores, but I just don't think that we should. We'll keep that for later. Okay. He lives in Alvis Dren in Gnis. It's Mage's Guild to get to Gnis. To Aldrune, and then take a Silt Strider to get there. Gnis also has a temple thing that we need to go to do our temple work. That's good. The Mage's Guild, Aldrune, then Gnis. A large enough town. You have to know where it is, even if you're an Outlander. If you want, you can have the Mage's Guild teleport you to Aldrune, take the Silt Strider. Alright. Let's go to Aldrune, I guess. I mean, we kind of finally have enough money. Getting above 1,000. Getting above 900 at least. Part of me just wants to buy so many spells. But to cast them, we kind of need to level up. I also want to set these slaves free. Free the slaves! You know, once you, like, figure out the Telvanni towns, they're not that bad. But initially, they're just very intimidating. Very hard to figure out. And also, these, like, signs tell you what type of merchant the merchants are. So this is a generalist trader, which can buy many, many things. I do want the potions. We haven't used our staff. We just don't remember that we have a staff. Unless we're really desperate. I kind of want to know where a muck shovel is, though. That's the thing about the, There's a prospect. I do want to join the Moratong.
Don't stand about. Get moving.
I want to. Maybe we'll do the Moratong before we do the Thieves Guild. Okay.
My patience is limited.
Oh, this is a practice dummy. Yes. Okay. That's what we need for our level up. We need 3 levels of spear here. This could be really boring, though, to watch. And there's practice targets. So the Legion has... I don't know if we're able to do that. We're able to attack a practice target. Should also repair our items. What is repair? Armor strength. Okay. Okay. Let's try. Yeah, okay. That's very good. I might just do this for 3. For 3 levels. Okay, I'm gonna cut it here. When we pick back up, we will do the journey to Gnis, and then we'll do the pilgrimage to Gnis, and then we will work on getting the stuff we need to do done for the Telvanni. And I also want to explore, like, are there any ways in which we can hurt ourselves by doing advancement too early? And also which patron we should work for. You know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna get patroned by one of the wizards of House Telvanni, we need to be really careful which mouth we want to become for which wizard. Okay. Alright. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Peace.